It's Flexibility Fridays, YouTube. My name is Matthew Ames from Ames Active Aging, and this is the episode where we talk about proprioception and not getting dizzy. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So I polled one of my classes earlier today, and we discussed what it was that they were all having trouble with. And after a little discussion, one of the things that came up was about getting dizzy during some of the exercises, especially head rolls. So when it comes to flexibility and mobility, we do a lot with our neck and our head. So let's start off with the basic concept. So if you turn sideways, everything that is covered by hair is going to be my head. Everything not covered by hair is going to be my face. Unless you have a beard, that's still counted as your face. With that being said, our movements are either going to be head-based or face-based. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a moment and we're going to look from side to side. Before we do anything with our head, we need to be stabilized. So what I want you to do is we're going to do a foot exercise first. Don't worry about the head. Feet are going to be slightly wider than shoulder width. We call this an athletic stance. From that athletic stance, I'm going to lean from one side to the other side. You'll be able to see that I'm going from the inside edge to the outside edge of each foot. What I'm doing is I'm trying to feel where in my shoe, where in my foot, can I feel the center of my foot. For everybody, this is going to be different. You would think it would be the same, but based off of muscular imbalances, injuries, the way our foot is formed, I personally have inverted arches. I know a lot of people with flat arches, some people with high arches. That's going to change this exercise. So once again, just going side to side, feeling where you can find dead center, where your weight is going straight down through your hip bone, straight down through your knee, into the bottom of your ankle, and that hits dead center in the middle of the foot. All right, now that we've gotten into that position, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to start doing it forward and back. I don't want you to go all the way to the heel, and I don't want you to go all the way to the toe. Instead, I want you to think about, if we were looking at our hand, the arch is the part right in the center. So we're going to try and go to the front of the arch and the back of the arch. So here we go. We're going to rock to the front of the arch, to the back of the arch, to the front of the arch. Now, if you go too far back, you're going to feel the need to fall. We don't want to go that far. If you go too far forward, you're going to feel like you're on your toes. That's too far. What we're doing is we're trying to find the direct center of that arch. So just rocking forward and back. If you can wiggle your toes and lift your heels at the same time, you've hit dead center. Now, being able to find center going side to side and center of the arch going forward and back, plant your weight steadily in there and relax your knees. So they don't have to be bent and they're not going to be locked. Just relaxed. This gives us ultimate amount of movement in all directions. The hips can go in all directions. But even as I do that, I've not left that center. Next thing that we need to do is we need to lift up. Everything from the pointy part of your ribs up needs to stretch up except for the shoulders. This will give you the ability to feel that tightening of the core. Last but not least, I'm going to drop my tailbone to the floor. Now I feel a slight pull of my back. I feel a slight lift in my abdomen. I feel nice and relaxed in my shoulder. If at this point you're going, I can't breathe, then you've hit the right place. It'll take a moment to get used to. Once you're in this secure position, let's talk about, once again, moving the head. Most people move their head faster than their eyes. What this ends up doing is this creates a moment where the crystal in your ears and the balance of the body have a bigger issue figuring out what's going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look from side to center and side to center. So I want you to move your face from the side and your face to the side. So now I'm going to have you do the exact opposite. I want you to think of the crown of your head, and I want you to take the crown of your head and move it from one side, crown of the head, move it to the other side. So what this is going to do is this is going to create a slightly different movement from side to side. When I move my face, the tendency is for my eyes to stay with the teacher and my nose to go in this direction. That's going to create a slight instability. Instead, what I want to do is I want to think of the whole part of my hair rotating ever so slightly from side to side. At this point, your eyes will have the tendency to go where the face is going because there's no longer a huge range in the front. Next, let's do up and down. If I leave my eyes and try and go up and down, now my body is trying to shift and figure out where I'm supposed to be. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up at the ceiling. I'm going to come back to level. I'm going to look down at the ground. I'm going to look back to level and let my head follow my eyes. So instead of looking up and down with nothing in between, now once again my body is doing this oscillating, and all of a sudden everything inside is trying to take a moment to figure out where I am. So instead, now I'm going to move my face and not the back of my head. I'm going to think about my eyes dropping, and I'm not dropping straight down to the floor. I'm going to think out at a 45-degree angle and bring it up. If you notice, if you look at that 45-degree angle, you can move the head without getting dizzy. Same thing if I'm looking up. I'm looking at a 45-degree angle, and now I have a range of motion with my head being able to go up and down. If I stay at the horizon level, now I don't have that full range of motion. So, once again, I'm going to turn the back of my head from side to side, and this keeps me in this 90-degree range where I'm using my peripheral vision to maintain my proprioception. Now, by altering the level of my eye to 45 degrees, I can look up and bring it back to center without getting that dizzy feeling. Now, the reason I show you this first is mainly because those are the easy ones that don't result in a lot of dizziness. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about just the face again. What I want you to do is tip the face. I want you to think about a portrait on the wall and that portrait being hung right in the center of the portrait. That is going to be the top of your head. Now what's going to happen is I want you to tilt the portrait so it's ever so slightly off to one side or the other. In so doing, we now have the ability to keep our eyes straight ahead. If I try and tip my head, the hair part, now my eyes feel like they're rolling at a diagonal. So instead, I'm just tipping the portrait from side to side, just the face of the portrait, not thinking about the back of my head going down towards my shoulder. What this is also doing to your neck region is it's giving it the ability to move more freely. We start getting the sternocleidomastoid as well as all these other little muscles that run along the back of the neck, and we're starting to pull them out like taffy. Now, the one that gets everybody dizzy is the circle. Tendency is to close your little test. What I want you to do this with a wall nearby. I want you to close your eyes and try and lift 1 foot off the floor. As you do that, you're going to find that you feel the need to tip over. That's because our eyes act as kind of our altimeter. It helps keep us parallel with the ground. What ends up happening is as soon as we close our eyes, we lose that ability to figure out where we are in time and space. So, what we're going to do, I'll have you watch first. I'm going to drop. If you remember, we said it's going to be a 45-degree angle down. I'm going to tip. Now, I'm not going to tip my head. Remember, that put my eyes at a weird diagonal, and now, once again, my body is trying to find equilibrium. Instead, I'm looking at my 45-degree down, and I'm tilting the chin. Now, I'm going to go up. As I go up, I'm going to look at my 45-degree up. I'm going to keep my 45-degree up, and now I'm going to look at my 45-degree down. So if I were looking at the side, normally I'm looking straight ahead. For the first part of my roll, I'm going to tilt ever so slightly down. I'm going to go watching the ground, watching the ground. At this point, I can no longer watch the ground, so I'm just going to shift my eye level up. I'm keeping that one spot, and then I'm going to go back to the lower spot. We're going to go back the other way. So I'm going to look at the lower spot. I'm going to choose one upper spot, and then I'm going to choose my lower spot. In doing this, I'm getting that full range of motion of my head without having the issue of feeling like I'm in a big whirl. Just to give you an idea, here is me closing my eyes and rolling my head, trying to take it to the ceiling and back. If you notice, my body is doing more of the work than my head. And now my body feels like I've just been out on a Friday night. Here's that same action. I'm looking at the ground. I'm looking up. I'm looking at the ground. Once again, I'm not looking directly down. I'm looking at that 45-degree off of my horizon line. What this does is gives me that full range of motion, but my eyes are never moving, hence my body knows where level is. All right, let's do that one last time. So we have our vision level. We're either going to go 45 above the vision level, we're going to go 45 below the vision level, but we're going to keep one spot. So here we go. I'm going to go down 45. I'm going to tip the head. I'm going to rotate the head. I can no longer keep the down 45, so I'm going to switch to the upper 45. I'm keeping my eyes directly on that 45. I've now hit the angle where I can no longer keep looking up, so I'm going to switch to the lower 45. Keep that lower 45, keep the lower 45, switch to the upper 45. Upper and lower and lower. Now I come back to level. At this point, you now have only two spots. When you close your eyes and you roll your head, you now have a bunch of different spots that your body is trying to find a equilibrium to. Let's head back the other way. We drop to 45. We hit the halfway point. We switch up. We drop down 45. We're switching up the top 45. We drop down to the bottom 45. And now we bring our eyes back to level. Now, 45 degrees may be hard to remember. So the way I try to explain it is no matter where you're standing in the room, you're looking to where the floor meets the wall, or you're looking to where the ceiling meets the wall. Hopefully that helps out. Give it a little bit of practice. I usually recommend doing this near a wall or a chair. That way, if you start to feel a little unstable or unbalanced, you can reach out and touch the wall. With that being said, thank you very much for joining me on this Friday. Mobility is the key to a happy, healthy life. With that being said, make sure you comment down below, you hit the like and subscribe button. Also push that little notification bell. As this series has been getting started, I have been a little inconsistent, but when you hit that bell, it'll let you know when one of these videos drops. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Thank you again for watching. This has been Ames Active Aging, and have a wonderful day.